Hi, thanks for joining me. Today I want to provide you an update in regards to the current fire situation in Southeast region. I would also like to pass on my appreciation for those that have been involved in the current firefighting effort. And I would also like to cover where to from here, because I'm sure many would ask how much work still required to control the many outstanding bushfires that we have across the region. Firstly though, can I acknowledge that it's International Women's Day today, the 8th of March, and that we have both volunteer and career staff, firefighters, women out on the ground doing wonderful work. We have women in our incident control centres, we have them in our regional control centres, in our district command centres and in the state control centre, filling roles all the way from firefighter out risking their lives on fire lines today, all the way through to senior managers within the sector overseeing the current firefighting operation. Big shout out to you. Thank you for your contribution of what you make to this sector. We want to get the balance right, and at the moment it's not right, but I'm sure that over time we will encourage and foster more women to be involved in this wonderful sector. So if you are interested, sign up as a volunteer, sign up as a career firefighter, because you'll be joining some wonderful organisations to support the community of Victoria. Thank you for the women out there supporting our wonderful communities, our organisations and the broader society. Thanks for your contribution. Now, the current fire situation that we have. We've been dealing with fire in Southeast region since the 4th of January this year. It started with the Rosedale fire, then the Timbara fire, and then we've seen extended fire activity across all our districts. District 8, District 9, District 10, District 11 and District 27. So we've had major fire activity in every district. I can't recall a history where we've seen that level of fire activity with large fires in every one of those districts pretty much at the same time. So our resources have been really stretched, and I'm proud with what we've achieved to date. I do know that for many, they're quite fatigued, and I'm not just talking about CFA, I'm talking about Forest Fire Management Victoria, Metropolitan Fire Brigade, State Emergency Service, among all the other agencies also in the background which are contributing to this firefighting effort. It's tough, it's challenging, and it's a long season. I want to thank everybody that's contributed to date. Southeast region has been a real contributor to other parts of Victoria in recent years, other parts of Australia, and certainly we've provided our expertise internationally in recent times. So we're seeing that favour returned, and I want to pass on my appreciation to all those brigades that have been contributing as far from the west to the northwest to the northeast and beyond. So we've seen brigades coming from the Wodongas, the Wangaratta's, the Chilterns, all the way across to the Warrnables, and so it's been Victoria wide. And you know, you go on and on and on. And the Chief and I visited the Narnagoon staging area at Bunyip State Park Fire only in the last few days, and we're mixing with the crews. Fantastic effort to see that contribution that everybody's making, and that's what makes our organisation, makes our sector so great, is that we come together to protect the community of Victoria, and we're doing that incredibly well. We've also seen contributions made from the New South Wales Rural Fire Service, who have sent crews down, and the Country Fire Service in South Australia. So for many of our brigades, they've had to travel in excess of 6 to 8 hours to get to the location of some of these fires to be able to perform their work. And we've also seen interstate brigades and services travel days to be able to assist. So again, I want to pass on our sincere appreciation on behalf of all fire brigades in CFA Southeast region for assisting us during these difficult and challenging times. Thank you. Now, you would have seen recently that the Chief Officer and I have come out pretty strong in defending our brigades, and will continue to do so. One of the fortunate positions that I'm in, I'm able to go and see on the fire ground, able to visit the staging areas, visit the district command centres, the incident control centres, regional control, state control, have a look at the whole thing. And also, on top of that, visit the community meetings that are occurring for many of these fires. Can I say overwhelmingly, the public support towards CFA and other fire services and emergency services is overwhelming. There is a tremendous amount of support out there, and it is really appreciated. Now, I know that there has been a little bit of criticism. I don't believe that it's directly attributed to many within the community. They understand, appreciate, and have seen firsthand the good work that our people are doing. It is a bit media driven, in my opinion, and whilst disappointing and in some ways sensationalising a story, I think the truth will soon come out about the level of work that our people have been making on the ground, and it's not always understood. More so when firefighters turn up, they do some really good work, and for others they may not see the fire service on their doorstep and may have to defend their property. Now's not the time to have those debates and that level of criticism. And it's fine for the media to try and create a story, but I'd have to say, in amongst communities that are stressed and still dealing with fire, and for firefighters who are giving it their all, those things don't assist us whatsoever. So I'm pleased that we've come out with the story from Lee Bostock and many others, and we've contributed to providing a better understanding, because we're not here to rebut things, we're here to educate and provide a constructive response to how we deal and manage fire, because that's not always well understood by many. So what have we seen? We've seen a lot of fire activity across that of the whole of Southeast region. And where's that going to take us? Where to from here? Well, we're still going to see a lot of smoke in the air, because for many of those fires, they are still going, and they will probably continue to go at least until we see good winter's rain. So at the moment, we've seen, in some cases, limited rainfall across the region. Some areas have got a little bit more, in the order of, say, 10, maybe 20 and other mil, and some areas have got nothing. It is still incredibly dry, and mindful that Gippsland is still in a period of drought in the far east. So it's dry, and all we need now is wind to move fire. Even the hotter days that we've been experiencing through summer, we don't need that at the moment. All we need is wind, and in the dry conditions that we're seeing, fire will travel very quickly. So with the smoke in the air from these many fires, I just ask that people, more so than with health conditions, monitor that, because over the coming days you will see increased smoke. There isn't, in some cases, a lot of wind, which is good, so that'll allow our firefighters to get in there and start blacking some of the edge. That is, in some areas, some difficult terrain, but by no means will the next few days get us to a stage of where we'll be able to bring many of these fires under control, simply because they're so big, and they're in some really, really remote areas. People need to be travelling over the long weekend, I get that, and we want people to be out there and enjoying this wonderful state that we live in. But they need to keep up to date with the warnings and advice that we might be providing at any given time with these large fires that we've got in the east. So I ask that you continue to monitor the Vic Emergency app. Check the website www.emergency.vic.gov.au, and if you are travelling, then listen to your local provider, particularly the ABC. The media will keep you up to date as best as they can. And of course, if you notice smoke in the air, pull over into a safe area, and again check those services in case there is a fire that's just started. Mindful of the fact that we've got a lot of fire that's been created through lightning strikes, and some of those fires can lay dormant for days, if not weeks, and therefore only on smallest of wind can ignite and start a new fire. It's also a time to be really careful about careless and reckless fires. You know, we're dealing with a lot, the services are dealing with a lot of fire across a big area of the eastern Victoria. So the last thing we need is for people to, with campfires, welding, grinding, any other form of activity that might start a fire, barbecues, you name it, anything that might contribute to the reckless or careless behaviour, people need to be really careful simply because it's so dry. We are stretched and we're putting everything we can into these fires. The last thing we need to be doing is going to fires that are unnecessary. So I just ask that people are really careful when they're out there operating over the weekend, whether it be through camping or other vocational activities. Just be careful about how you go about doing things. I also want to encourage people to get out. Whilst there's fires in East Gippsland and in the northeast of Victoria, if you keep up to date, there is still plenty of area to go and visit. And conscious that those towns, many of those rely on good tourism. So if you have made plans to visit those places, I'd ask that you continue to do so and support those local communities. It's really important from a tourism point of view, more important where some of those areas are also being impacted by drought. So enjoy the area, enjoy it as much as you can, in amongst a climate at the moment that's welcoming. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, and it'll be nice next few days. But again, I just remind you to keep up to date with those different services, just in case any of those fires start to run. So we've been through a lot. We'll continue to refresh our crews day and night on those fires. We'll continue to replace at the incident control centres all the way through to the state control centre until we have these fires under control. We'll continue to bring in resources interstate if required to do the job and rotate our crews and giving them some rest. We have gone through a process of making our management structures more efficient and more effective over the past week, and that will start to take place as of tomorrow on Saturday, which means we're streamlining some of the way we do things to make it more efficient and more effective, and to manage fatigue, importantly, going forward, because these fires are going to go on for some time yet. We're not even out of the response phase for many of these fires, let alone getting to the stage of where we'll need to fully recover, and that will take months of work, both from an environmental and from a personal perspective for many. So thank you for everything that everybody's doing. As I said, I've been around to many of the community meetings. I've walked through the organisation regularly, checking and on everybody as much as and best as I can. And I'd have to say I'm most impressed at what's occurring, both at the community level and our incident management and fireground levels. Everybody is doing their best to be able to bring these fires under control and protect communities. Let's stay connected. Let's be patient to get to the right outcome. Mindful that safety is always the first of our priority, and that life we need to protect beyond everything else, as it's something that's irreplaceable. Thanks for your support up to date, and I'm sure it will continue going forward. And I want to rest assure both our members and the community we are doing everything to support you, and will continue to do so over coming weeks. Thanks.